Zimbabwe is entering a new stage of democracy. That's according to the country's new leader, Emerson Mnangagwa. The former vice president returned to the country early on Wednesday, having fled for his safety when President Robert Mugabe sacked him. While addressing a crowd on arrival, Mnan-gagwa promised economic growth, peace and jobs for Zimbabweans. He is due to be sworn in to replace Robert Mugabe as president on Friday. A spokesman for the ruling Zanu-PF party said Mnangagwa would serve the remainder of Mr Mugabe's term until the elections that are due to be held by September 2018. Well, let's get you more perspective on that. Professor Lovemore Madhuku joins us from Harare. He's a law professor at the University of Zimbabwe. Thank you very much for joining us, Professor. At this point, do we have a clearer idea yet on Emerson Mnangagwa's plan and his approach going forward?
I can say that no one can claim that they have an idea of what he wants to do. This is very clear because from the time that we got the military intervention, it came immediately after he had been sacked from government, where he had been serving faithfully as far as we were seeing it under President Mugabe. He had not indicated in any way any indications of disagreements with the policies that were pursued by the government of President Mugabe. So at the moment it would appear that he is simply coming in to take over as president and pursue what Zanu-PF had been doing under Mugabe. Under President Mugabe, they were only unhappy with the succession issue that they wanted to take over from President Mugabe. Not so much because they were having any difficulties with the policies that were pursued by his government.
And any idea yet on where Robert Mugabe and his wife are now?
We have a clear idea on that. They are in the country, they are at their home in Harare, where the president was staying at his private home always and driving to work every day. He was no longer staying in State House, which is the official government residence. He has his own private home in Borodel here in Harare, and he is clearly there with his wife.
And Professor, several key ministers were detained by the military, as we know, like the finance minister, for instance. Where are they now, and what's going to happen to them, do you think?
It would appear that the information we have now is that those who are detained would be just a few, particularly the finance ministers, former finance minister, and possibly the Zanu-PF youth leader, who was also taken by the police. But the other ministers appear to have escaped. They are safe outside the country. But the ones, the finance minister who is held by the military, we are not sure. I think people must be worried about his current whereabouts. We don't know whether he's alive or not. So that is a very worrying situation.
And, well, you're just talking about the military there. Are the soldiers still out on the streets, or have they returned to their barracks?
They are still out in the streets. I think their plan appears to be that they will only go back to the barracks after the swearing in of the new president and after, I think, assuring clear internal peace, because they are still at the places where they were when their operation started.
Okay, Professor, thank you very much for that. That was Professor Lovemore Madhuku from Harare, law professor at the University of Zimbabwe.